Good afternoon, Connecticut. Robert Chesson here from the Landlord Law Firm with your August edition of the Landlord Advocate video series. This month's topic, we're going to talk about summary process executions. Now, that's the piece of paper that actually has the marshal evicting somebody out of their apartment. Not everybody's favorite topic, but unfortunately, on occasion, we actually have to go down that path and have somebody removed. And so I wanted to talk to you about some of the important aspects of executions that landlords need to keep in mind. There are really two that I want to cover. The first is how long an execution is good for, and the second is how long you can actually get an execution from the court to actually evict somebody. So let's talk about the execution itself. If you've ever seen one or actually read one, you're going to find on the form itself that the execution has to be served by the marshal within 60 days of it being issued by the court clerk. That means the marshal has to actually deliver that document to the tenant who they intend to evict within 60 days. Why is that important? Well, oftentimes you might wish to give the tenant a chance to get caught up, or the tenant's promised another payment and you'd like to collect that money, and for some reason those promises and the attempts to collect those money tends to linger beyond a certain period of time. If it gets beyond 60 days, the execution that you've got is no longer good, and you're going to have to get another one. And the only way to get another one is to return the first one, or the one that you've got, unsatisfied, back to the courthouse. So that execution is good for 60 days. If it's not used, you have to return it in order to get another one. You can't get a second one without the first one coming back from the marshal. Second thing I want to cover is how long you can get an execution after the judgment. That is 6 months. Your judgment is good for 6 months, and if you don't get an execution and actually serve it and satisfy it in that 6-month period, then your judgment's no good anymore. You can't do anything further with that judgment, and you're either going to have to open it and get a new judgment, or you may be forced to start a whole new case depending on the facts that surrounded the first case to begin with. So, a couple of time frames to keep in mind when you're dealing with the possibility of evicting somebody. The execution you got from the court is good for 60 days, and then you got to get another one if you don't use it. And ultimately, the judgment that you got from the court is only going to be good for 6 months, after which you might have to get a new judgment in that case, or perhaps even start a second case in order to get the eviction that you're looking for. With that in mind, if you need assistance to manage the process of dealing with an execution, of dealing with the evictions, and working with the marshals and that sort of stuff, reach out to your landlord attorney. They should be able to help you. Thanks so much for signing in to the Landlord Advocate. We appreciate all of you subscribers and readers and viewers. Hope this was helpful, and if you've got some thoughts about what you'd like to hear on Landlord Advocate Live, please feel free to send them to us at your convenience. This again, Robert Chesson, Landlord Law Firm. It's been a pleasure.